Welcome to the Small Business Sessions podcast from Enterprise Nation's Business Connected training program and our partners Vodafone Business, Constant Contact, Dropbox and JP Morgan. In this week's episode, I'm joined by Clare Andrews, the home cook turned social media sensation who's known as the air fryer angel. Clare's culinary journey began during the lockdowns of 2020 when she was gifted an air fryer. She began to explore the full potential of the popular kitchen gadget and shared her recipes on Instagram. She now has more than 100,000 followers, has published several books, and has appeared on several air fryer themed TV shows. In the programme, we discuss Clare's journey to becoming a social media influencer, plus her tips for growing a following online, writing a book, and attracting media coverage. So Clare, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Brilliant. I'm looking forward to our conversation. So do you want to take me back to where it all began, when you first started using the air fryer and showing your recipes online?
Yeah,
Which
definitely.
is a question I've never asked anyone. But do you want to tell me how it all started?
Yeah, it's okay. Well, my mum bought me. It was lockdown. We were bored, obviously, at home. I wasn't working, so mum bought me one, and honestly, it stayed on the side for like a couple of months. It's like, why do I need that? I've got an oven and a microwave. And then one afternoon I got it out and just started messing around with it, really. Checked out some recipes online and I thought, it's not really much. Everything's quite beige. Chips, wedges, frozen fish fingers and nuggets. And I thought there's got to be more because they're not cheap. You know, there's got to be more that we can do with it. So I just started experimenting. And I tried baking in it and wow, so crispy, and all the fat was draining at the bottom. I thought it's got to be healthier for you. And then I just expanded on it and I thought, well, I'll just start sharing my recipes, not even recipes, how long I cooked it for, and for my sanity as well, because they are different to ovens. And I started sharing it on Instagram and found out so many people felt the same. I was getting questions on, oh, have you tried, cooking a burger in there? Or have you tried? I'm like, no, but I will. And I'll let you know how long it takes. And yeah, it just kind of went from there. And I was gaining a lot of followers really quite quickly.
But I guess you didn't post with that in mind, though.
Not at all.
Was it just a personal account?
And it was because I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
I did call it Air Fryer UK.
Right.
Goodness knows why. I don't know what happened to me that day. And it was never for anything other than my own, well, for me and something to do. I'd never really played with Instagram before. I'd got a personal one with just some friends, just a bit like Facebook. And I just thought I'd give it a go. I wasn't doing anything else. And I loved it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess you just started naturally then, did you, to get followers? You were noticing, the air fryer community had found you. And it was a funny time as well, like you say.
Everyone was at home, I think.
Everybody's at home.
Yeah,
so
and they were looking at their phones. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
looking at their phones and probably looking to cook more, probably be a little bit more healthy. I know things changed for a lot of people during lockdown. It certainly did for me. So, and I think the conversation grew, and I've still got followers now that followed me from like the first month or so. And it's such a great food community, I think, online, especially on Instagram. Really positive, and everyone helps one another. And I love it.
Well, I guess at that point as well, you probably weren't really sort of thinking about the content as such. You didn't have a strategy. You were just doing it.
Yeah.
But I guess that was probably a benefit, because did that make it more natural?
If I look back now, it was really rough content, really. I was shooting it on goodness knows what iPhone I had, if it even was an iPhone, and just shooting it genuinely as it came out. So, and I think the more organic and the more natural you are, the better. There's no point flouncing around, and especially at that time. I just started experimenting with it more and more, and then creating recipes for myself. And at that point in time, you couldn't get a hold of like ingredients like you can now. Remember the shops, the shelves were just clear of certain things.
Flour and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
All those days.
So one of the recipes in my first book was back of the fridge kebabs, because it was genuinely what we had in the back of the fridge. And we just made kebabs, my son and I. And they were delicious. And then just expanding on flavours and all of that kind of stuff.
So what were you doing work-wise at that point?
I was in primary education.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
right.
I was in primary education.
So this was purely just a thing on the side.
I've always enjoyed cooking.
Yeah.
I literally love it. My son and I literally live to eat. We love cooking, and it's something I'm super passionate about. I like cooking from fresh. And the air fryer was just a massive added addition to the kitchen.
And at what point then did you sort of start to think, hold on a minute, maybe this is like a thing that I can make money from? Can you pinpoint that?
No, I didn't. I still don't.
Okay.
I still don't think I can. It was when I first got a message from Penguin, Michael Joseph, and they approached me and said, hey, would you like a chat? We love your recipes that you're sharing. We'd love to have a call. So I was like, why would you want me to? Okay. So I literally had a call and love what they had to say. And they approached about doing a book. And I was like, I'm 100% behind this. It's amazing. Because I was getting a lot of messages from people saying, I'm a bit nervous about it. I've burnt the chips or I've burnt this. So, I'm doing the same temperatures with my oven and for the same length of time. And people were ruining food. So for me, educating people that the air fryer is such an added bonus to the kitchen. And you don't treat it like your oven. It cooks like 20% faster and doesn't need as much electricity, which was a big bonus at that time because, cost of living crisis. So I think it was that point when I had the call from Michael Joseph that kind of, I thought, I still didn't think I'd make money on it. I just thought it would be something else to just give it a go and see what happened.
Yeah,
and
that's
it was amazing.
Like Penguin getting in touch. That's quite a big one, isn't it?
It really was. Yeah. And I'm definitely not one to say no. I'm definitely one for let's just give it a go and see what's the worst that can happen.
Yeah. Before we come back to the book, but I'm interested in how you, and I think, business owners watching this, whatever they do, they're obviously interested in how they use social media to engage an audience in a natural, organic way. So do you want to give some insights now, maybe, in how you create your content, some of the tools you use, some of the devices you use, and how you kind of measure whether it's been a success?
Yeah, I found social media a really tricky environment recently. I've fallen out of love with it a little bit, then I try and fall in love with it again. Algorithms and everything changes all the time. And I'm not one for that. I just want to post something that is organic to me, that my followers want to see, and they enjoy it. So they can go home and they can recreate it. So I try and be as organic as I can, as natural as I can. And I shoot it all on an iPhone. I don't have anything too fancy at all at home. I had a light ring once and I really wish I'd never used it. So I try and use natural light and I just try and be as organic as I can be. And things go wrong and I do drop the odd sausage or the bacon falls down or whatever. And I just think it too polished, it can come across, just not natural. And I just think with social media, it changes all the time, doesn't it? Everything is changing and each platform is so different. So, but my presence really is Instagram. So I try and be as present as I can, but it is hard. It's once you've got one thing right and then it changes something else. And
So how do you do you not try not to think about measuring success?
I really do.
You just post it and see what happens.
Post it and see what happens. I love the story aspect of Instagram. I think it gives you a real insight of that person's life or what that person's cooking that day or walking the dog or different people that I follow. I'm quite interested in that because it's short bursts of quite entertaining stuff. I think the reels are probably dying a little bit more. They still certainly are, but I don't really measure it. I like people to engage with me because I like to talk to my followers and I like to know what they've cooked and if they've cooked from the book and did they like it, did they not? That's guess how I use social media now, especially Facebook, and Facebook groups are great because engagement, getting everyone talking about it and excited and
Do you have your own Facebook group? Or
I do, yeah. I've got a slow cooker one and an air fryer one. Right. So the ultimate air fryer group and the ultimate slow cooker group. And they're just a great community because everyone's sharing tips and what they've cooked and what went wrong. And so, I like the groups. I think the groups are a really good idea.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that's kind of what Facebook is now. It's more closed groups than the public stuff. The actual closed niche groups are the most powerful.
Yeah,
I guess you can kind of control the audience in a way, I suppose.
Well, you're all there for one reason. Yeah. So if you don't like slow cooking, you don't need to be part of it. And I think people kind of feel it's a safer space to share their, a photograph or their view on something. And I like that. I like what that creates.
Would that be a tip then? Say a small business owner that's watching this, whatever they do, would you
Yeah.
say maybe create a group around the issue that your business helps with?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you can have it public, or I mean, I don't know too much about it. It's my partner that kind of helps me do that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think it creates a safe space, a safe environment to people to be able to share their,
Exactly. Interest.
Yeah.
So going back to the book, again, writing a book is something that a lot of people would love to do. I mean, sounds like you didn't ever think you'd write a book.
Never.
And you got approached by a publisher.
Yeah.
So the question around how do you get a publisher? Obviously, you've posted about air frying.
I don't know.
But do you want to talk us through? Yeah, well, once you'd got that call and you decided to write the book, how was it writing the book, and what's that experience been like?
Went very, very quickly. We wanted to get it. But I basically had a lot of the recipes anyway through my Instagram, and not only that, through what I'd planned for, because I plan what I'm going to cook in the week anyway. And yeah, it was very quick, and I loved it. I love working to a deadline. That is me. I enjoyed the whole process of writing. I loved having the photographs taken in the studio, to see your creations that you've created at home and it's been in your head, and then for someone else to create it and take photographs, and it was just wild. And yeah, I loved the artistic approach of all of that. It was great, choosing the different colors to go with the food, and yeah, I just thought it was brilliant. And when they gave me the first initial proof of the front of the book, it was like bright green. I was like, really? Anyway, it's the best decision they ever made. It was brilliant because it really pops. It really pops in people's kitchens, on the shelves. And yeah, it was great. It was a great process.
I mean, you don't have to obviously give us all the details, but what about, say somebody, has got an idea for a book and they maybe have been approached, the kind of negotiation and how much control you have, because, it's your thing, but obviously they're penguins. So they, like you say, the cover. And so do you want to talk us a bit through that, about, that element of writing the book?
I was thrown into that completely. So I had nothing to benchmark it across. Luckily, the team that were behind me, I'm still working with them now, and I will continue to work with them for as long as they'll have me. I trust them. I really did trust them. I trust their process. With regards to kind of negotiating, again, I trust that process. And they've definitely never done me wrong. And I think it's a tricky one, because a lot of people have literary agents and agents anyway, and they're the ones that do the deals, I guess. So I just kind of went in it completely organically and winged it, really. Yeah. And it's turned out okay.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think trust. I think ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Don't go in it too blind. And yeah.
And I guess when you're with such a reputable publisher as well, you kind of, it's penguins.
It's their job as well. They know what they're doing. And I completely trusted them throughout the whole process. And they've been amazing. Yeah.
So any budding authors out there?
Yes.
Yeah, think about writing that. But I guess that is quite interesting, though, how that obviously shows that publishers, how they look for ideas nowadays. They probably are looking on social media and reading blogs and watching
I think
TV.
Things have changed so much now. And I think the social media aspect, and like you say about the blogs and TikTok, and, it's your not just normal average people, but you don't necessarily have to be famous. And, if you're really passionate about what you do, I never dreamt in a million years I'd be able to write a book, let alone 3 books.
Yeah,
so yeah,
exactly. So you're self-employed. So obviously a lot of people are, the vast majority of people that watch this are self-employed, run a business. So what do you want to talk? What are some self-employment challenges that you've faced, and what have you overcome those challenges?
Well, I guess I always say to people, I never applied for this job. I didn't send my CV out. I didn't go to an interview. I never applied for it. So I've kind of just found myself in it, and it's been tricky. It can be quite lonely at times, because I'm working from home. And obviously I create my recipes from home. I test them at home. My struggles are, I guess, kind of the isolation. We live in the countryside as well. So obviously coming into the big city, it's quite exciting, hence all the bags over there. And it is quite isolating. Thankfully, I've got a really supportive partner and a really supportive family around me. My partner works with me, and he's just been brilliant. Neither of us, this is not our world at all. So we're learning every day. But with regards to being self-employed, I think reach out to different communities. Like, there's so many out there. Reach out, ask questions, make friends. People, I know social media gets a bad name, but people genuinely are on there to support one another. And I know I've made a lot of friends through different self-employment blogs that I follow, different Instagram. And yeah, they've been amazing. Just if you feel that, I don't really know what to do about my tax, or I don't really know what to do about, should I promote this or advertise with this or whatever. Definitely ask questions and build your network. Build your network.
Big thanks to Vodafone Business for sponsoring this podcast. VHub from Vodafone Business has supported over 1 million SMEs, providing expert advice on a range of topics that matter to small business owners everywhere. Access VHub for a free one-to-one consultation with an expert advisor and get support tailored to your business. Book your free consultation with a VHub advisor today. Find more details at vodafone.co.uk/VHub. I was going to ask about your family, how they kind of responded to it, because obviously that was quite a thing, quite different to what you were doing before. But you said your husband now helps out.
He helps out. He's amazing. Fortunately, my father passed away whilst writing the third book. So that was a really, really hard time for all of us. And my son's 17 and just loves the fact that he comes home to all this food every day. So he's just literally living his best life.
But you were a bit like, don't eat it yet, I haven't filmed it.
Got to take a picture. Honestly, the times that we've had to do it, and he's like, Mum, seriously, I'm starving. I'm like, I know, just give me a minute. So he's loved it. And with creating the recipes, you don't get it right the first time. So it's twice, 3 times. So he's like, are we really having this again?
Yeah.
But the process is just, it's so exciting. And we get to eat loads of food all the time.
But it is nerve-wracking a bit though, isn't it? Doing, because it's an unusual way to make money. So, it must have been a bit of a, making the step to think, now this is what I'm going to do as my job. This is my income. Yeah. And obviously air fryers are going to be around for a while, but is there an element in your head think how long will there be an interest, or do you think, I guess is that...
I guess it's like anything, isn't it? Yeah. There definitely was an element in my head for a start, but they've stuck around, really stuck around. Yeah. And I think somebody did a poll, and it was like 2/3 of the population in the UK now own an air fryer, which is amazing. Yeah. And I know kitchens now are looking to implement them actually built in. And I just think they're great for everybody, young, old, middle-aged. My mum, that's all she uses. And Jack, my son, when he's with his friends, they'll just put everything in the air fryer. Heating the oven up is a bit of a faff. It costs a fortune, and you can get air fryers to suit everybody. Smaller ones, 2.5 litres up to big 10-litre ones now. So I think there's something for everybody with an air fryer. And from when I first started, mine was like a little dial, 2 dials, and you couldn't really gauge it. And now they're like so precise, and you've got air fryer mode and max crisp and, roast and bake. I think they've just expanded so much and just now quite a pivotal part of people's kitchens. I think people just, it's their go-to. It's easy.
I guess, now is, like you say, it's a thing in kitchens, so it's not going away.
Definitely.
Yeah. So TV, you've done TV appearances, because air fryers on TV is quite a thing, particularly Channel 5.
Yeah, Channel 5 definitely went through loving air fryers, but that was great. And when I got approached to do that, I was a little bit apprehensive. It's not something that I really wanted to put myself. I was really nervous, but I absolutely loved the whole process. I just loved it. It's fast, it's quick, you've got a deadline in 3 hours or whatever, and I've met some really great people, and which I'm still in contact with now, and people loved it. I mean, a lot of those shows, they really had some high viewing ratings, like really did, and people want to be educated with it, because we've had cooking shows for years, right? Yep. And using an air fryer is different. You've got likes of Jamie Oliver and Gino D'Acampo. They've got books out on air fryer. Well, Jamie did a TV show, didn't he? And Gino's got a book out. And people want to know and see what you can create in it. And I think it's just a great idea. I think it's brilliant. Yeah, I loved it. I loved every minute.
What advice would you give to people think that and using TV as a marketing tool? Because could you measure like the impact on book sales and stuff if you kind of looked into
I
that?
don't know if you could. I'm not so sure. It's a really hard
Yeah, it's quite hard,
point
isn't
to
it?
measure. Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah.
All I would say, it's not everyone's cup of tea. I know quite a lot of people in the food industry that do not like it at all. It's not their cup of tea. I think I'm in my mid-40s. I don't care what happens. Honestly, I'm all for just give it a go. If you don't like it, don't do it again. And don't put pressure on yourself because life is too short. So if you want to give it a go, put yourself out there and give it a go. But yeah, don't put pressure on yourself. It's not worth it.
Yeah. But I guess, again, it's all been quite organic, isn't it, for you? Because obviously you started on social, then you got the book offer, built a bit of a brand. Now you've got a bit of a TV profile. So I suppose it all naturally, you've eased yourself into it, haven't you, I suppose?
Yeah, definitely. And it was never something I was looking for, the TV. That just came up because air fryers were blowing up anyway. And, you know, I was very fortunate that they came to me. It was like, I'd love to do more stuff. I think it's really exciting.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Watch your space.
A lot of sort of experts, you know, businesses that are experts, so they are more on the like the B2B side, you know, they offer a service, they've got expertise in a particular area, which is kind of what you've got. You're an expert. That's what they want to do. They want to build a business around their expertise. You kind of touched on a lot of this with all of your answers, but what would be your tips for businesses like that want to? It's their expertise that's the product.
Well, you want to stand out from the rest, don't you? And you want to show your passion. There's no point. No one's going to buy from someone, or whether you're selling or if you're standing up listening to a TED talk or whatever, that just don't care. You want to show the passion. For me, you want to show the passion. You want to know that person is an expert in that field, whatever it is. You want to see passion, drive, and you want to be that go-to, I think. You know, I'll go to Fred because he knows everything about armchairs or whatever. And that's kind of like what I would like to do. I mean, I live and breathe air fryers. It's something that I do, but I never get sick of it because I don't get sick of food. I don't get sick of cooking. I love it. And I think being an expertise in your area, show that passion, have that drive and that want to do it. And I think that's part of being self-employed. It's your choice, isn't it? So it's something that you do feel. I mean, if I don't work, I don't get paid. So, you know, and I want to work and I want to get paid and I love what I do. You got to love what you do, right? You got to have some passion about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like otherwise it just doesn't come across, does it? It's
Not at
obvious.
all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And no one wants to talk to that person that just doesn't really care. They want to be filled with, wow, so-and-so knows exactly what they're talking about. I'm so going to, follow them or whatever. Ask them about whatever.
Are there any other influencers, that you follow on social media that you quite like? You quite like the way they do it, that sort of inspire you?
Yeah, there's quite a few. I mean, I've always followed the likes of Stacey Solomon and Mrs. Hinch.
Yeah,
always.
Right.
I just love their content. I love Stacey's drive and the amazing family and the family life, as well as her branding. And I love that. And they're the stories that I would kind of stay on, because they're real people and it's not flouncy and it is real and organic. And so, they're the people, but also all the food. I mean, I've got so many different food bloggers and, they're inspirational. They're amazing and they love it. And you can see by the passion, it's, the passion of their filming and the food that they create at the end. And there's so many, I can't even mention them all because,
I was at an event actually that Stacey Solomon spoke at, an event for small businesses. And she was at the end, she was absolutely mobbed. She was she was given so many gifts. I was like, obviously they all want her to then review it on her Instagram.
Of course. And you know what she does? I just love it because she does do some reviews and stuff, but it doesn't ever come across like she's selling anything too much either. It's just like, well, I'm endorsing it because I use it and I like it.
Yeah.
And that's what I always do. I never endorse anything that I don't use. And I don't like. I will make sure whatever it is, even if I'm not getting paid for it, even if it is something that, oh gosh, I've just tried these set of knives and I bought them from Asda or whatever and I love them. They're great. And that's what I like about her. She's genuine. And people buy from people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So on that, obviously that's a big thing, social media is brand deals, as it's called, #ad, this, where you're given stuff to promote.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a bit about that, how that, because that, for a lot of people, that's kind of a bit of a mysterious dark art in some ways.
It is a grey area. area,
it
I
is,
think, as well. It's not something that I ever set out to do. But if a brand approached me, like Tesco approached me, I use Tesco all the time. So, yeah, why not? Absolutely. And at the end of the day, it is my job. So, and yeah, I get paid from the books. But equally, it is my job. It is what I do. So I felt weird about it for a start. It didn't sit well with me. But then because I've got my own core values, I just stick to them. If I use it and I like it, then I will absolutely tell other people to go ahead or at least give it a try and buy it. But I would do that even if I wasn't getting paid for it as well. So, and I think it is a grey area. I would never, stand up there and sell trainers or anything because it's got nothing to do with my brand. I think if you, stay to your core values and stick to that. But again, it's a bit of a minefield out there.
Yeah. I imagine you get a lot of approaches. Do you get a lot of people pitching
but
when stuff?
Yeah, but when writing books, it is so difficult to put the time into that content as well. But yes, I do. And as I say, I'll only work with the brands that I really do believe in, that I feel like I can endorse. Yeah,
absolutely. How many air fryers have you got?
I've only got 2.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd have like a suite of air fryers in your...
I always try and gift them to people that probably need them.
Yeah.
So I always make sure they go to really good homes. I never sell anything on. I always make sure they're gifted to somebody that needs it. And I've only got 2, and I've got a big drawer and then I've got a 2 drawer because it's easier to test recipes in the 2 different ones as well. And so, we switch backwards and forwards. My son's favourite is the 2 drawer. My favourite is the big drawer. So we're constantly switching. So because I don't have enough space in my kitchen to keep them both out. So we have to pop one away and then get the other one out. Because there's so many now as well. So many different shapes and sizes and what they can and can't do.
Oh, yeah. What are your tips then for getting an air fryer? If you had to, this is not a business question, but I actually don't have one. So I'm now thinking I'm going to buy one. So what should I look for in the perfect air fryer?
Oh, that's tricky.
I suppose it depends on your budget, doesn't it?
Definitely depends on your budget. Not necessarily the most expensive is the best. Check your space on your countertop. Make sure that you've got enough space. You don't want it kind of half hanging off the side or anything. And check the litre of your basket. So you don't necessarily need a big, massive 10-litre one if you live on your own or if it's just 2 people. You genuinely don't. Just check all things like that. You don't need an all singing and dancing one. Just need a temperature and a time setting, and that's it.
Good tip. I've never asked that question on this. We got off on it, but I felt it had to be asked. But back to the final question, back to the business stuff. If you had to give, an ultimate tip, maybe for making the most of social media as a small business, self-employed person, what would you be?
Be yourself. 100% be yourself. Don't try and be anyone else. By all means, look up to people and look at their content and get ideas, but you cannot go wrong with being yourself. Just be organic and as natural as you can be.
Fabulous. I've loved this conversation, Claire.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Small Business Sessions.
Thank you very much for having me.
You've been watching Enterprise Nation's Small Business Sessions podcast, powered by Business Connected and our partners Vodafone Business, Constant Contact, Dropbox and JP Morgan. If you've been inspired during this episode, head to enterprisenation.com/business connected to register for webinars and to access free business training. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.